Good afternoon, Mr. Quirk, AB 51.
Good morning and good afternoon, and thank you, Chair Frazier and members. Lane splitting is prohibited in nearly every state in the country except in California, where the practice is neither expressly authorized nor prohibited. I support lane splitting because it helps to keep our roads decongested and helps to reduce rear-end collisions between motorcyclists and motorists. Recognizing the need to develop guidelines as an educational tool for all roadway users, in 2013, the California Highway Patrol convened a diverse stakeholder group to develop a set of guidelines on safe practices. However, shortly after making the guidelines public, CHP was forced to remove them due to a lack of legislative authorization. This has left a void in informing the public about safe lane splitting practices, particularly since the CHP was forced to curtail all education and outreach efforts on the subject. Concerned about the safety of our roads, I, along with my colleague, my joint author, Assemblymember Lackey, are proud to author AB 51, which essentially codifies CHP's lane splitting guidelines. I would like to state that my office has been working very closely with many members of the motorcycle community to address their concerns. This bill was originally was modeled after the CHP's guidelines. That, in turn, was made in part because of some research done at UC Berkeley, which did a poll of various motorcyclists to get an idea about when they were likely to have accidents. Since then, there is a new study at Berkeley, which hasn't been published yet, which provides better information in that it looks at actual accidents that take place. Currently, the bill calls for going no faster than 10 miles an hour faster than the traffic. That's well supported by the new research. There is a question. The bill also states that you shouldn't be lane splitting at speeds greater than 30 miles an hour. That exact limit could be higher depending on the research being done at Berkeley. We don't yet have the results published. Until then, I'm reluctant to change the bill, so I'm going to keep it in line with the CHP organizations. When that research comes out, should there be reason to change the bill, I will certainly work with the motorcycle community and with the CHP and other law enforcement agencies to decide whether or not we should make a change. At the current time, though, as I said, the guidelines would be no faster than 10 miles an hour faster than the traffic, and and the speed of the motorcyclist should not be more than 30 miles an hour. I would like to assure members of this committee that we will be looking at this very closely, and I will also be working with your chair should we decide that we should make a change. Now I would like to invite my joint author, Assemblymember Lackey, to say a few words about the bill.
Mr. Chair and members, this is certainly an honor to stand before you for the first time I've met before this committee. As many of you may be aware, my career was 28 years long with the California Highway Patrol, and enforcing laws as they relate to irresponsible motorcycle driving is nothing new to me. However, it should be clearly understood by this committee that the intention of this bill, AB 51, is not designed to prohibit lane splitting. Its purpose, as I understand and support, is to enhance statute clarity. It's to help motorcycle riders understand, and motor vehicle operators that aren't on a motorcycle understand what is legal and what is not legal. Because I think right now the general public is unclear on exactly how to safely utilize this tactic of lane splitting. And so there are a number of offenses on the books that are already utilized for irresponsible and unsafe lane changes. However, this bill will bring great clarity and I think bring safety to our roadways. As you may be aware, the severity of traffic collisions involving motorcycle riders are much greater because they don't have the protection that they do in an automobile. So we need to do what we can to enhance the safe travel by these vehicles. And I believe that it's very important that the public and that this body understand that we're not here to outlaw lane splitting. Even though California is the only state that I'm aware of that allows this to take place. We understand there's a benefit, there's a way to do it safely, and that's what we're here to encourage, and I believe that this bill does a very good job of doing that. And I look forward to working with each of you and whoever comes up with amendments and making this bill as strong as it absolutely can be. And so I'm proud to present this AB 51 with my colleague Assemblyman Quirk, and we think that this is a great safety measure that will enhance better travel by, or safer travel by, our utilizers of motorcycles. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Michael Gunning, Personal Insurance Federation of California. PIF and its member companies have a long-standing record of supporting measures that improve road safety. And frankly, we see this as doing that, as well as beginning the education process for both motorcyclists and motorists about the rules of the road. So we're here in support today. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Ryan Sherman on behalf of the Los Angeles County Professional Peace Officers Association, Santa Ana Police Officers Association, Sacramento Deputy Sheriffs, and also the California Fraternal Order of Police. We're in support of this bill because lane splitting, although there are benefits, also pose dangers as well to the community out on our highways and roads. And we think these reasonable suggestions on some type of regulation of lane splitting will be beneficial to all motorists. And we urge a support of the bill.
Any other members of the public that are wishing to testimony in favor of the bill? Any members of the public that would like to testify in opposition of the bill? So when we go with the members of the opposition, please state your name and who you represent, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, James Lombardo on behalf of the Beta California Motorcycle Riders Organization. First of all, I'd like to commend the author for pursuing this. He's been very good at working with us and having various meetings to discuss how we can resolve this problem of the various speed differentials that we disagree on. I think that the lower end speed is a serious problem. I think for new riders, when traffic is stopped at 0 and they're trying to maneuver through it 10 miles an hour with a sport bike or a heavier bike, for those of you that bicycle, and you know as you slow down to try to stop at a stop sign, your bike starts wobbling. It's even worse with a heavier bike and trying to keep it upright. So I think that we need to discuss the lower end speed differential as well as the higher end speed differential. And we look forward to working with the author if this bill passes.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. And I would like to also thank Member Quirk and Member Lackey. I've met with both of their offices as well. My name is Nicholas Harris. I'm the Western States representative for the American Motorcyclist Association, and we have sent a letter of opposition as well. We do think Assembly Bill 51 is attempting a pretty difficult issue, but unfortunately at this time we cannot support it. We think the language is too restrictive. I'm actually a member of the CMSP committee that reviewed the guideline language before it was released, and at the time, it's important to remember, number one, it was a guideline. It was not the law. It was basically a teaching tool for new riders. That being said, we do want to work together. We would like to find a solution, and we think it's critical that any legislation that seeks to codify this practice has support from the motorcycling community, and as you will hear today, I'm afraid there just isn't any at this point. And I'll also point out a number of states are considering lane splitting at the moment, and most other countries that I've visited have allowed it as well, so it's not quite as new of an issue as some people think. Thank you very much for your time.
Any other members of the public that would like to testify in opposition to this bill? Yeah. So since we have a few members that would like to speak in opposition, please state your name and who you represent, and keep it brief, please.
Right. Rodney Grenier, President, Modified Motorcycle Association. I'm also speaking on behalf of COC and the NCOC. I oppose the bill the way it is written. I'm asking you to no vote. Thank you.
Greg Coppice, Political Director for Bikers' Rights Organization of California. We oppose the bill as written, and we appreciate the efforts by Assemblyman Quirk.
Mark Stout, club member, and I oppose the bill because the lower limits as well as the higher limits are unworkable as they are right now. I would urge you to oppose this bill right now and consider a higher upper limit as well as a slightly higher lower limit, 15 maybe to 20. That'll keep the bike upright when there's zero traffic. But the 30 limit, it's unsafe. I mean, I'm unsafe looking at 30 right now. So I would really encourage you to vote no on this bill and consider a higher upper limit. Thank you.
So for the remainder, would we please state your name, who you represent, and oppose or support, please?
My name is Jim Carrico. I'm a member of the Modified Motorcycle Association of Northern California. I oppose the bill as written for the same reasons that you've been told before. It's a matter of safety. A motorcycle has to travel a certain speed before it's safe to balance and navigate. Thank you.
Bobby Jaballo, representing the California Confederation of Clubs and the United Motorcycle Clubs of Alameda County. I'd like to commend Assemblyman Quirk on the bill, and we look forward to working with him going forward. But at this point, I oppose the bill in its current form.
Sporty Milligan, Beta California board member, and I would like to tell you guys not to vote for this bill in its present amended form. Thank you.
Dave Seiler, Local 8, Bait, also oppose the bill.
Donald Curtis, I oppose the bill.
Heather Reed, member of the Central Northern Coalition of Clubs, also a member of the U.S. Defenders Program, and I oppose this bill as it is written. More studies needed on those speed limits. Thank you.
Deborah Pagala, I oppose.
Ruby Weber, liaison for Abate, MMA, and Bolt of California. We oppose that bill because of the safety features on it. Thank you.
My name is Dave Schnell, and I oppose the bill as it's written.
My name is Richard Speckelmeyer, and I oppose the bill the way it's written.
My name is Don Pagala. I also oppose the bill as it is written. The language needs to be updated and the studies conducted to affirm the findings.
My name is Tim Head. I'm a member of the MMA, and I oppose the way that this bill is written until further studies are done on it. Thank you.
My name's Eric Stout, and I oppose the bill. Thank you.
Nick Calderero, and I oppose the vote.
Craig McFarland, I oppose the bill.
Gus Alvarez, Vice President of MMA of California and Far North Coalition of Clubs. We oppose the bill as written.
My name is Charles Carbone, and I oppose the bill.
Name is James Asbell. I oppose the bill as written.
My name is Al Fox. I oppose the bill the way it's written.
My name is Mario Prado. I oppose the bill the way it's written.
My name is Dennis Gilchrist. I oppose this bill because it's supposed to help riders that are not so experienced, and because you're putting a speed limit on it, the last thing we need to be doing when we're trying to split lanes is looking at our speedometer to see how fast we're going. I think that in itself is very dangerous.
My name is Bill Wells, and I oppose the bill the way it's written.
My name is Vince Jafrida, and I oppose the bill as written.
Ron Cantrell, I oppose it as written.
Thank you. I believe we had one question from Ms. Melendez of this group.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, if you could stay, please. Thank you. This is my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, in 49 other states, lane splitting is illegal. Is that correct?
It's either illegal or it's just, it might not be expressly illegal, but it's not typically done.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
not being done in 49 other
It's
states.
under consideration in about 5, but yeah, it's not currently practiced.
Okay, and so I don't know if you have the statistics on a nationwide level, but being that they're not allowed to do lane splitting in all of these other states, do 49 other states have numbers-wise more motorcycle accidents than California?
The preliminary numbers we've seen from the Berkeley survey indicate that the types of accidents are different. More motorcyclists are rear-ended, and this is where the issue of the speed delta, which is the difference in the traffic speed, has become kind of the focus, and I think all of us are familiar with those numbers and have had long discussions about them. So the types of accidents, and as a result, the types of injuries are different and frankly better for the riders. Not to say that accidents don't happen, but the accident types are better. The researcher that we all have met with, Dr. Rice, has indicated that as a physicist, you appreciated that, Assemblymember Quirk, that the difference in the speed is where you're going to see the problem. So getting rear-ended is bad for a rider. Hitting something on the side isn't necessarily better. The numbers he looked at, which was relatively preliminary, I think it was about 1,000 accidents, there wasn't a single fatality among motorcyclists that were splitting within the speed delta. He said the speed overall was not as important as the difference between the traffic and the rider.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Saji?
Yes, gentlemen.
Don't go away.
Don't go away.
Oh, yeah, just stay here, okay? You can just stay.
I appreciate your input. I have similar concerns, but other concerns to try to see where the balance is. As a rider, if I have a passenger on a larger bike, 10 miles per hour is not all that acceptable because of how I can maintain a little balance. It's easier to maintain balance when you're going faster than slower. So I can see their points. On the other hand, if we don't do anything, then the next step is probably to stop it from ever happening. So where do we draw the line?
Well, I think, Mr. Vice Chairman, that we've agreed that we're going to work with the author on developing this language and tightening it up, raising up some of these speeds so it's safe for the motorcyclists and also safe for the motorists. We really want the motorists to be aware that this is legal. It's been allowed in California because the Highway Patrol commissioners over the years have interpreted the law to allow this in California. And other commissioners in other states have not done that. But for historically, I can't remember ever that it wasn't allowed here in California. And as being pointed out here, I can control the vehicle in front of me seeing them, the ones to the side, but it's the one behind me that is stopping at the taillights of the car in front of me and not my taillights because they're not as bright. And the rear end collisions are extremely deadly.
Well, also scares me that somebody opening their door in front of me and or somebody changing lanes at the same time I'm moving forward. So there's all these problems that I have come across myself as a rider. And when I'm driving my car, I hear a motorcycle pull over, especially on the emergency lanes, to give them more room. So I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm not in a disagreement, but I also agree with the writer, with the author, that there's something has to come to finalize this and put it to rest where it's acceptable to all. I'm happy to see that you are going to work with the author. I'm going to support it simply because based on your statement, but I will reserve the right to do otherwise when it comes to the floor if we haven't reached an agreement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Blum?
I agree with Vice Chair Ashajian on this issue. I'm going to pay close attention to it, but vote to move it forward today and encourage you all to continue the conversation. Mr. Quirk, can you let us know, is there an expected time when the
Yes,
report is
the
going to be?
report is due out certainly by the end of this month. Clearly, though, this committee, if we're going to move it forward, I have to get a yes vote today. So I'm asking you to move it forward. This more comprehensive report should be out certainly by the end of the month. They're hoping even sooner. It is extremely important, though, if we're going to do something this year, to go ahead now.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Kanzenshu?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to thank Assemblymember Clark and Lackey for your research
and your outreach to the motorcycle committee. I'll be happy to support the bill, and especially when you open for a further discussion with the opposition. And personally, one of my co-workers' nephew just recently, 2 months ago, was killed in a motorcycle accident by doing the lane splitting. So I'll be happy to move this bill forward.
So we have one motion by Mr. Chu. Do we have a second? Mr. Nazarian's a second. Mr. Quirk.
All right, so I agree with the two gentlemen sitting here and with a number of my other friends in the motorcycle community that lane splitting will save lives of motorcyclists because the rear end collisions are much more dangerous than what might happen lane splitting. I think we are all in agreement that there has to be a limit as to how much faster you go than the traffic. The data supports that. The new data may not support the limit that if the traffic is going more than 30 miles an hour, you shouldn't lane split. We've got to look at that data as it's published. If that's the case, then I need to sit down with law enforcement and the motorcycle community and change the bill and consult with you if we make that change and explain it, just in case you should want to bring it back when we make that change. Anyway, please help me by moving the bill forward so we can get something done this year. Lane splitting saves lives.
Thank you for
and
that,
Mr. Lackey, would you like to say something?
Sure, real quick. Just know that I pledge to use my experience as a highway patrolman and to work with the opposition here today. Our goal is to enhance traffic safety, and that is the only intention of this bill. And so we'll work together, and I think that once these facts come forward with the study, we'll even be able to codify and improve what we proposed before you today. Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Quirk-Lackey. And I want to thank you very much for bringing this bill to our committee. Mr. Quirk and Mr. Lackey, there's a lot of confusion surrounding lane splitting in California. And as a former motorcycle owner, primarily Harleys, the facts are pretty much, yeah, well, you know, that's how I roll. But
no pun intended. That's a good one.
So, but the facts being presented that it is hard to maneuver a motorcycle at lower speeds is correct. And the other opportunities for making the air-cooled engines operate and not burn up by idling on the freeways. This does help clarify some of the issues for the motorist, but I do have concerns shared with the opposition. I'm going to help this bill get out of committee today with your willingness to listen to the motorcycle community, but reserve the right to change my vote on the floor. I look forward to you taking a motorcycle ride, both of you, on a full-dresser Harley, and see that you can maneuver at the speeds that you suggest, and then look forward to the study coming out from Berkeley. So looking forward to working through with this with you, because I do believe that there are very good opportunities in this bill. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
The motion is a due pass to appropriations. Frazier.
Aye.
Frazier, aye. Ashajian. Ashajian, aye. Baker. Aye. Baker, aye. Bloom. Aye. Bloom, aye. Campos. Chu. Aye. Chu, aye. Daly.
Aye.
Daly, aye. Dodd. Aye. Dodd, aye. Eduardo Garcia. Aye. Eduardo Garcia, aye. Gomez. Kim. Aye. Kim, aye. Linder.
No.
Linder, no. Medina. Aye. Medina, aye. Melendez. Melendez, aye. Nazarian. Nazarian, aye. O'Donnell. Aye. O'Donnell, aye.
That bill is out 13 to 1, Mr. Quirk. I look forward to your continued participation with this association.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And we'll keep the roll open for any absent members on this bill. Mr. Patterson.